At the time, Ultraman Cosmos was the longest-running show in the Ultra series' history. At 65 episodes and 3 movies, it was an incredibly meaty series geared at a younger demographic. Tsuburaya picked an interesting way to follow it up, however. Rather than continue with the aggressively kid-friendly tone Cosmos went with, the next 2 entries, a movie and a TV show, went for a tone aimed at an older audience. This was the Ultra N project, and the show that came of it was Ultraman Nexus. When I first watched it, it was before the Mill Creek era of distribution, so I watched Nexus on the Toku streaming service. Rest in peace, Bozo. I went back and rewatched it through other sources for this video, so I'll do my best to summarize my feelings on Nexus without spoiling too much. Footage credit where it's due, I'll be using this HD upscale by Bright Eyed Toku Fan for the visuals of this review. I still recommend supporting the official release, and there are definitely certain issues that pop up from upscaling shows only ever released in 480p. But this is overall a great effort, and it's a cleaner alternative to using the North American DVD visuals. I abhor HD upscales of media shot on film because they lose all the necessary film grain, but this is a show from 2003 shot on digital cameras. As far as I can tell, there wasn't a lot of information being lost in the upscale to begin with. Anyways, here's a video about Ultraman Nexus. Set in another disconnected universe, the show follows Kazuki Komon. Formerly part of a rescue team, he's kidnapped by a shady organization to work for an attack team formed in secrecy to defend against creatures named Space Beasts. The existence of these monsters and the attack team, the Night Raiders, is kept under wraps, and keeping the secret gets more difficult as an enigmatic man named June appears. June is a so-called Dunamist, meaning he can transform into a silver giant. That giant is codenamed Ultraman, a name coined by Komon when he expresses a mysterious familiarity with the giant. The complex web of government conspiracies unfolds over the course of the show. As Komon's girlfriend Riko gets involved in an unexpected way, new villainous forces in the form of Dark Ultramen reveal their hands, and another Dunamist by the name of Ren enters the picture. Immediately, the approach to the series compared to others in the Ultra franchise is different. In addition to having a markedly darker tone, the protagonist is not Ultraman's host. The defense organization is not a cheery place, and the people running it are untrustworthy. Also, hi Kenji Sahara. And there is a stronger emphasis on an overarching story, with the monsters of the week actually sticking around for an average of 4 episodes before their defeat. That element especially helps every monster in this show stand out. I think Nexus has one of the franchise's stronger monster lineups. Every goober here is unique, and occasionally creepy in their own ways. Cold opens are a more important part of every episode's structure too, meaning the show's opening is sometimes pushed further into the episode so it can play at a more appropriate moment. Like its 90s predecessors, it still makes use of some dodgy early 2000s CGI and unconvincing green screen effects, and elements such as the attack team's weaponry and the Ultraman transformation device are still toyetic, which makes it clear it's still got a foot in the door on advertising to a younger demographic. But still, watching this for the first time a couple years ago was such a welcome change of pace from what I'm used to. It's not just the fact that it's darker, but rather how it uses its darker tone to explore more complex themes through tighter writing, reliant on every episode naturally flowing into the next in an ever-progressing story. And it works. I like it a lot. While it might pile on the angst a little too thick early on, and if there is a complaint I have with the tone, it's probably that. That and the show is always stopping so characters can give monologues, and, it's interesting thematic stuff, yet I noticed how much the pacing suffered for it sometimes. Even with that in mind, the show naturally develops to a tone that strikes a good balance. It's necessary to take some dark turns for what's, ultimately, a story about hope to feel earned. It's dark for a reason, but what's really commendable about Nexus is that the story arcs are pushed forward by the characters. So much time is given to illustrating how they tick and why they do the things they do, and they're more fleshed out as a result. I love shows like Tiga and Gaia, but I'll admit they tackled thematic content differently. Not in a way that's worse, just differently. Usually on an episode-by-episode basis due to their format as Monster of the Week affairs. It took Tiga a while to really cement its themes too. I feel the need to reference them because Nexus, with its more flowing structure, is able to convey themes and ideas in that way. Themes are mixed with one another in ways never seen before too. It all works really, really well. I like it. It's good. Until it isn't, but I'll get to that later. Poor Komon goes through a lot of traumatic stuff in this show. Many of the episodes follow him going through an internal conflict. It's understandable that he would be at wit's end at some point. The fact that he's not Ultraman makes him a more helpless protagonist, having to rely on his human connections and looking within himself to make important decisions. It's satisfying to see him eventually overcome his anxieties and find an answer to his questions. Having a more sensitive protagonist like this was a good fit for a show with such emotional twists. Of the Knight Raider characters, Vice Captain Nagi is the most fleshed out. She develops a conflicting but understanding friendship with Komon over the course of the show. She keeps him grounded and snaps him out of his depressive stupor, but she's flawed herself, letting her anger get the best of her in ways that just don't help. Her inability to open up to people is in stark contrast to Komon's trust in others because he doesn't see a reason to immediately doubt someone. Ironically, when he begins to doubt himself, her hard encouragement is enough to keep him going. Their clashes and relatability in personality are an important part of the show. June is another deeply troubled character, unable to shake the memories of a mistake he made, and with the ability to become Ultraman, he spends a lot of time soul-searching to find the reason why he in particular was chosen. Despite all of his internal conflicts, he finds it in himself to do the right thing, to try to prevent what happened to him in the past from happening to others. He's a compelling character in that regard. Ren has the misfortune of joining the show during its truncated final arc, so he naturally doesn't get as much time to develop as the others, but I still think his happier outlook is a good fit for this era of the show, especially compared to how moody June is. For as much unbridled optimism the guy has, there is a sadness to his character, which not only makes him feel like a human being, but also makes his drive to keep his friends happy so admirable. Sparkle on and be yourself, regardless of where you came from. ラファエルって言葉、何か思い当たることない? Why yes, he's my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Bingo! You get the feeling all this is starting to lead somewhere?
Ultraman Nexus himself is a pretty cool reinvention of the familiar Ultraman look. I dig the vaguely samurai-esque design they've got going with him. He's essentially a shell for his human hosts to make use of his abilities, and his secondary form reflects that. Nexus makes use of a meta field, which creates an enclosed space that allows him to fight the monster without doing harm to his surroundings, and also keeps the show's production costs down by making use of the same set over and over. Yeah, that's the more cynical way of looking at it, but I think how the show utilizes it works. It's not only a visually interesting location, but the fact that Nexus uses it to prevent damage to the real world speaks to his character. It's a small thing, but one of the first things Nexus does speaks volumes about his presence in the show. In the first 2 episodes, Komon is entrenched in this top-secret organization, where his leaving is threatened with an He's unable to communicate with his girlfriend for a time, and Nagi is difficult to work with. Which is why when Ultraman shows up and one of the first things he does is save civilians that the Knight Raiders were otherwise willing to sacrifice, this is the first hint of hope. It's a sign that this show isn't going to go too far with its darker elements. Despite every other familiar Ultra series element being twisted into something moodier, Ultraman is still Ultraman. That's why his usage in this show feels so suitably heroic. Thematically, Nexus is juggling a bunch of ideas that all fluidly mix and mingle with one another, and the execution is quite good. Trust and hope are two pillars in this show. The Night Raiders eventually learn to trust Ultraman. A lot of faith is put into Komon to pull off some of the more dangerous tasks. Nagi and Komon learn to trust each other. There's a lot to point to here. Even trusting in one's own memories. Without spoiling too much, a point the show makes is that memories shape a person. One character's remaining thread of humanity is their memories of their family and their single remaining human connection. Again, not being specific because it's a big spoiler. And Jun's trauma drives him to prevent others from experiencing the same pain. As one character puts it, to deny people their memories is to deny a part of them. And the consequences of this are explored at several points. To deny one's memories and even their trust in interpersonal connections is to deny hope for the future. We even get some heady stuff with references to religion and certain characters being named after historically religious stories, like Faust and Mephisto. Ultraman literally gets crucified. A franchise tradition at this point, sure, not really a spoiler, but now it takes on a more blunt metaphor. I'm not one to analyze this sort of thing, so forgive me for any potential pretension here. They could have done it just because it looks cool, even though the villains in this show are invoking biblical terminology, but whatever. And of course, Heisei-era traditions like the contrast of light and dark are the heart of this show. Nexus, despite how much it explores other ideas, can still tie things back to the black and white forces of good and evil. Can it be a little cheesy? Yeah, but I think it's awesome how it's able to still feel like Ultraman in the end. And Ultraman is, at its core, optimistic. When everything falls into place and the show reaches one of its pivotal scenes, it can be genuinely inspiring. And Nexus would be one of my favorites if it was actually finished. Like, it was finished, it has an ending, but it wasn't on the showrunner's terms. These are kinda big spoilers, so skip to the next chapter in the video if you want to go in completely blind. At the end of the day, I still recommend this show if you're interested. The final episode is just, not great. Yeah, this is kind of the big thing about Nexus. It bombed. The show infamously aired in the wrong time slot, meaning a bunch of young kids were exposed to a show where, among many other things, one of its primary characters has repeated traumatic flashbacks, and he feels immense guilt for the lives he could have saved. The resulting low ratings meant that an entire arc had to be scrapped and truncated into one final episode, and it really shows. It doesn't get 2 episodes like I've come to expect from a show that, up until now, had story arcs spanning multiple episodes. It just got one. One episode to tie everything up. There's a twist villain who got very little foreshadowing, so the reveal felt haphazard. Nagi got totally screwed here, even if it was in character for her to act the way she did. And I got the sense that the show blasted through 12 episodes off-screen to get here. The pacing is just too fast. If there's one thing about it that works, it's that the show is tying a little bow on the themes it established. So we do get conclusions to its ideas. It's just not as satisfying as it could be, and it's clearly rushed. Plus, there is something of a blissful spectacle to just how hastily it wraps everything up. But Dark Zaggy as a final villain is also kinda just nothing, personality-wise. I find it unbelievable that this maniacal weirdo was orchestrating everything. Previous villains had way more depth and were more interesting. And had there been more episodes, we could have gotten something more. Even with its positives, it doesn't feel fully realized. There are still lingering questions standing as proof that it all ended abruptly. We still don't know who saved Komon when he was a kid, or why he in particular was chosen to join the Night Raiders. It's not impossible to enjoy this finale. I won't begrudge anyone for taking enjoyment from how suddenly upbeat it is. But to me, it's not just a weak conclusion. The ramifications from the decision to end the show sooner than expected can be felt much earlier. Like I said before, Ren doesn't get as much time as June to develop. The monsters are disposed of much faster, and plot revelations start piling on one after another, way faster than they did before. There is one character who was central to a conflict earlier in the show, whose return to the show doesn't feel very well realized. Even the showrunners must have felt the same way. There's a director's cut of episode 29 that's twice as long and better explores his unlikely friendship with another character. There's even an entire episode that was outright unaired that follows Shiori, one of the Night Raiders, and it would have been welcomed because we've barely spent any time with her. It gives the viewer a peek into their personal life. It's a sad story for a character who's otherwise so happy and upbeat. The fact that both of these extended episodes are in the show's final arc is really symptomatic of the Nexus team being rushed by the network to end the show. Neither are available on the Mill Creek DVD releases, so you're gonna have to do a quick search to find them, which is a shame because seeing episodes of this show being allowed to decompress and tell their stories in a longer format actually works pretty well. Had Nexus been aired in its proper time slot, it might have been allowed to format its episodes in 45-minute chunks, and it could have turned out better for it. Some Ultra shows have their best episodes in the final quarter, so that's what makes Nexus's abrupt cancellation feel all the more tragic. Yes, this show could have had a better conclusion, but if there is one constant, Kenji Kawai's soundtrack is fantastic. Nexus has one of my favorite Ultraman scores. All of the incidental music is so beautifully orchestrated. Struggling but hopeful, sinister yet ethereal, militaristic but catchy. It's all phenomenal work that complements the show perfectly. It's not just the incidental music. The first opening, AU, is just an absolute bop. The second opening is alright, but I usually skip it. And it's funny. Despite how much I think Nexus was fumbled, I still like it a lot, even during the aforementioned fumbling. There's a reason why I didn't want to spoil it too much. The show is worth seeing because the journey is worth it. It's so well done in many other areas, it's impossible to not appreciate what it was going for. As much as its pacing could be improved at times, the story Nexus tells and the ideas it explores are compelling for Ultraman. Every character central to the story is so well realized. The show would not work without this cast being explored as thoroughly as they are. That, and it's all mingled with the usually great fight scenes any fan has come to expect by now. Once again, the score is phenomenal. It's just, again, it would have benefited from another 12 episodes to really let the final stretch of the show breathe. Nexus, no matter how dark it gets, always presents something worth fighting for. Ultimately, it's a hopeful show, worthy of your time. Shout out to my guy Willie Mingus. He deserves the best. Nearly 20 years removed from the show's conclusion, I don't think we're getting a more fleshed out resolution anytime soon. At least not in live action. According to Ultrablog DX, again, wonderful source, there was a novel that apparently elaborates on the ending where some super duper secret extra villain named Dark Lucifer would have shown up. Again, with the biblical references. With the poor ratings and hindsight with the tone of the shows we have now, it's easy to conclude that Nexus performing and selling as badly as it did turned Tsuburaya off from getting this far off the beaten path again, relying more and more on kaiju and storylines that worked in the past because that makes money. Which is really depressing to think about. It's not all doom and gloom though. Ultraman Max was the show that directly followed Nexus, made to be a return to basics, something more familiar and by the numbers after Nexus's more story-driven series. And, for what it's worth, I think Max is great. Despite its comparative simplicity, it still has some strong episodes, and the numerous guest directors helped give it a smorgasbord of tones and fun premises. It's one of my favorites, and I'd probably recommend it first to a newcomer. Nexus is great, but it's also comparably something I can only recommend to someone already familiar with the basics of Ultraman, and want to see the series realized in an alternative setting with a darker but still characteristically Ultraman approach. It's a good second show, if you've already seen one. Nexus the Ultra wasn't forgotten. His base form has appeared a couple times, and his other form, Noah. God damn it, I almost went the whole review without spoiling that. Also, wow, again, with the biblical references. Anyways, he appears as a plot element in the second Ultraman Zero movie. Probably the most substantial return is in an episode of Ultraman X, which sees the Ultra helping one of the show's characters rescue their kids. They should have given Nexus another color to match the new host, but I think it's a nice little tribute to the show that follows up on the missed opportunity of a female host and touches upon familiar themes. And hey, is that Komon? It's a different character, sure, but wow, I didn't realize that was the same actor until now. That's a cool little cameo. Even the title of the episode is styled after the ones in Nexus. I like that. Should you watch Nexus? Yes. It's not perfect, but gosh darn it, I can't fault it for the ambition that it, for the most part, got right. Watch the next first, then this one. Oh, and make sure to check out episode EX, which takes place between episodes 31 and 32, as well as the director's cut of episode 29. That's your watch guide. Have fun. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Gotta say, one real annoying thing about writing this script was, whenever I wanted to open this Google document, my muscle memory made me just type in Nexus, and then I would blindly hit enter, so I would accidentally open the Nexus mods page almost every time first before I corrected myself with the proper Google Doc name. Anyways, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Here is a shout out to my top patrons who helped make videos like this one possible. Fujoshi Urinal, Mulan Nguyen, Ultraman Taro vs. Leo, Irrelevant 402, Hey I'm Mooney, Krazak 53, Komen, Queer Kaiju, Radiant GV, Chronicler Waba, Alcoholic Alligators, Ryan Santa Cruz, Avak Robot, The Antagonist, Richard Siavardon, Ziggy Zigra, It's God Z, Big Odilo, An Actual Demetrodon, CMG, Red Comet Harry, and Marpzilla. Thank you all very much.